Good morning and welcome to a brand new week on Jasiri. It's Monday, April the 14th, and as always, we're starting the week with bold conversations, sharp insights, and the stories that matter most to you. Now, the weekend may be over, but the issues haven't taken a break, and neither have we. From the headlines shaping the nation to the voices demanding to be heard, Jasiri is where we set the tone for the week ahead. So grab your coffee, your tea, your ogi, whatever it is you want to grab. And clear your mind. Let's get into it, because on Jasiri, every story has power and every voice counts. But first,
we have an update on a story that captures attention. Now, recently, Yetunde Amole, a female Danfo driver whose assault was caught on camera, says that she's taking the matter to a magistrate court at Ebutte-Metta, and the suspect, identified as Friday Onu, has been charged with battery, theft, public molesting, and for brutalizing her body. Now, she confirms that the case has been adjourned till May 27. Let's hear from her.
Chief Magistrate Court for Ebutte-Metta. The guy, they charge him for 3 count charges. For stealing my battery, he accepts. For public molesting, he accepts. For brutalizing on my body, he accepts. So they adjourned the case to on the 7th of May. So, and Mr. Shegun from OPD, Office of the Public Defender, Lagos State Ministry of Justice, Mr. Shegun Tinioye, now he come from there, come stand for me, for the lawyer. I really appreciate everybody. And they try to correct, because at the same line where they go, say the guy, na union. The guy no be union, na passenger. Even no, na passenger no be union. The guy enter na passenger. And they take this opportunity to thank Mr. Alhaji Mustafa Sego, our head for Road Union Transport for Lagos. I really appreciate, because he said some people come yesterday, they stand by me yesterday and today for the court. I really appreciate. But the update on how the matter take go. Thank you very much.
All right, so in case you missed it, a video went viral showing Amole being assaulted by a passenger she picked up in the early hours of the day. Here's what she said happened.
I carry this guy. You know the rich run. He say they go law school. As I look for mirror, I see they don't carry my battery. From there, now I come there, go meet her. Say, if you don't do, I don't say. Wait till why you won't carry my battery too. This one is the last one I will carry. Now so just carry battery. This is the battery for here. See the battery. From back. Now you for carry my battery. From back. Now from there, it just start to beat me. See my face. Me not see my clothes. I still never me. I bet anybody ready watch this video. Me never come man right. He's supposed to do me like this. You don't naked me. See on my body. Me not see my hand. Nigeria. So this supposed to happen to a woman doing man's job. Is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm a woman? You naked me.
All right, so let's take some reactions before we talk.
this lady must get justice, especially she's a woman trying to hustle and make ends meet. It's very uncommon to see a woman accept her fate in this type of men-dominated industry. English teacher. How can one want to steal a car battery in such a rowdy place? Just thinking. Friday Onu, lock him up without taking him to court to serve as a deterrent to others. Women must be protected no matter what, not to be harassed while doing their legitimate job. Women doing man's job? How? Please, human rights should intervene for her battery, please. As for the job, anyone can do it. This is heartbreaking. I can't imagine the trauma she's going through, and nobody really cares. Sad. I'm sure if it was a man, he wouldn't be that bold. How do you beat someone you unsuccessfully tried to steal from? I fear women, but if the story is true, I beg, make this guy face the full wrath of the law and make he pay for all he cost her that day, because no hardworking woman deserves to go through this. It's not because you're a woman. No thief would want to get caught. He would do same to a male victim, so long he's stronger. You deserve justice, by the way. So those are the reactions. Now, this video was a very big conversation last week. Went into different areas. She's one of the very few women driving Danfos in Lagos. It's not that she's a complete anomaly, but she's one of the very few. There's a lady I see on my route often, and I'm always especially knowing how Danfo drivers behave and the things that they can go through sometimes. I'm always amazed at her dexterity in that role. So this is the situation. See all...
Yeah, so
Jesus Christ. And so she picked him up, she said, around Oriental, and then she found out that he was trying to steal the battery from her car. And that's when he descended into assaulting her and abusing her. And thankfully, there were people, when she started making noise, who stopped and who held him down before the authorities came.
You know, these are the times that I thank God Almighty for social media.
Yes. Because
these social media has helped us expose a lot of things that otherwise would just be rolled under the carpet. If she didn't put this on social media, this would just be another indices. Maybe only the people around would just talk about it, and that would be the end of it. Look at the extent to which this guy manhandled her. And there are a lot of people in Lagos that do this kind of thing, and you're wondering that, how can you just get into somebody's car and start to assault her like this? It's not even about the job. It's about the fact that she's a human being.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't want to genderize evil or assault. She's human. Whether she's female or male, nobody has a right to descend on somebody and assault her this much. Look at all, before her face evens out. Do you know how long it will take? And I hope that the guy will be made to pay damages because this was a lot. Imagine if she didn't wear trousers.
So again, I'm glad at the level of doggedness that she displayed, because I'm not sure a lot of people saw that part where she said she wasn't going to let him go. So he wasn't holding on to her after he did what he did. He wanted to run away, but she held him and said until she gets justice. Because honestly, if he had run away, that probably would have been the last she saw of him, and she wouldn't get the justice that she deserved. But she held on to him and refused to let him go. That is applaudable.
And I think any woman doing this kind of job, please continue to wear trousers and pants with belts, so that if something happens, you know, imagine if she was wearing a dress or something. I'm sure she'll be naked by now. So make sure you dress very appropriately
to the environment you're in.
Like all those overalls that lady mechanics wear. I appreciate that. So that, and I really advocate for women to take some self-defense classes. It's high time. Even me, I want to go back.
You must be
because you must be able to defend yourself. Up to, imagine if she didn't have the strength to hold him. It's because this woman is strong. This guy would have hit her on her face and would have let go.
Have to be, to a certain extent, for you to be a Danfo driver in Lagos.
You have to have
street. And honestly, when you go through things like this, the same spirit that possessed Lolo the day that she got, you don't know. It's your body's running on this adrenaline.
That day was fight or flight.
I was
so afraid because they had guns. If they didn't have guns, maybe I would. But I knew that even if something untoward was going to happen, at least let it be recorded. That they know exactly what happened. And this is the kind of thing that police should take up. And I'm so grateful to the Office of the Public Defender. Lagos State, honestly, is at the forefront of a lot of states when it comes to assault, domestic violence, you know, all those kinds of things. I'm so happy that this woman had the fortitude to stay and say, let's take him to court.
I don't think the guy expected it to
It's because we don't know who I don't think he has anyone.
He's just a street urchin or a
If there's anything I've learned from all these experiences that I see is those people thrive on your fear. Be afraid, but don't let it show. Like the moment you start showing fear, then they feel like they've got you where they want you.
And so he'll take the battery, sell it for less than, maybe only half of what the battery is worth, just to do what? And as somebody said, you're stealing a battery in a crowded place.
He just wanted to bully her.
I think it's an underestimation of a woman.
She's on the wheels. Before she would get down, run to the back, he probably would have made off with it.
But
she was smart. She said she saw him through the mirror. You know,
so think about someone who is a female Danfo driver in Lagos. She has to be much more aware, extra alert, always looking behind her, always checking in the mirror for certain things. You're going to have this sense of alertness, mental alertness, situational awareness that men probably don't have, you know, in certain situations. It just doesn't come to them because it's never been their experience.
Meanwhile, we are very empathetic people. Because of the fact that she's a female driver, people can be dashing her. Take the change. Oh, man, this is 1K. You owe me 200, but don't worry.
I appreciate it.
You know, we do that. I've seen I think it's not a recent thing, but I've been driven by a female before, and it was just
I even know one female in Lekki one. I like entry Marwa. I will see them, because if you don't get to where, if you live above, sometimes you don't really remember how everyday life is. When you see a woman trying to, make ends meet. These are the kinds of people that, and I appreciate their union. This is what unionism is for. To be able to protect their members. If I'm any of the union leaders, we implore you in Lagos State, please, if you have women within your union, make sure that you take extra care of them. Because, of course, we will look at the population of women doing driving work or that they will be quite
very slim.
So that means that you even have privilege. If you report somebody if she reports like this, let every union leader say, if this lady reports you, you are gone for this environment. I think it will deter a lot of them.
And I think it's an interesting case overall. We'll continue to monitor it. We looked for her. She's not active anywhere except on TikTok. But we look forward to having Yeti Mama on set with us, talking about her experience. Being a female Danfo driver in Lagos, it's not something that is probably
and I would love it if, all those people that like to give gifts and, change people's lives, you could help me revamp her, paint the house, just do something nice for her to just be able to appreciate the fact that, okay, we see your pain and we just want to be a blessing. It's always heartwarming.
Okay, take us to break.
Anyway, we've heard the rants, we've felt the frustration, but for now, it's time to talk about what comes next. After the break, we'll be joined by human rights advocate Peter Akah, who has been at the forefront of youth civic engagement. He's here to help us unpack life after the 30 days rant challenge and explore how young Nigerians can turn their anger into action and their voices into real power. Don't go anywhere, because Jasiri continues after this. And this guy, he packs a punch.
Join today's conversation via social media platforms. We are at News Central TV. So, let's get to our main conversation. Today, we're talking about a movement that captured the attention and emotions of young Nigerians online. The hashtag 30-Day Rant Challenge. What started as a space to vent, to rant, to release frustrations about life in Nigeria quickly became something more, a bold digital campaign that gave voice to everything from broken systems to daily struggles, government failure to personal burnouts. But now that the 30 days are over, what's next? Will this outpouring of emotion be transformed into organized action? Can young Nigerians turn all that online energy into offline real power? Returning to join us at the table once again is a young Nigerian who uses his platform to call for social change and a better Nigeria. Peter Akah. Peter the Rock, it's good to have you back on the Just Rita.
An absolute pleasure, beautiful lady.
Introduce me that way. Peter the Rock. It's so strong.
Wow.
He has to be
There
strong.
was that connection. Yeah.
All right, so give you a bit of background. Now, 4 weeks ago, Nigerians were introduced to the hashtag 30-Day Rant Challenge after NYSC core member Rita, Raye, Ushie Uguamaye openly criticized President Tinubu and called his administration terrible. She went viral for ranting about the price of goods and her frustrations about the cost of living as a young Nigerian. Now, she encouraged other Nigerians to join her in the 30-Day Rant Challenge. Here's what she said.
Nigerian government out, don't you guys know that a lot of changes will actually be made in the environment or in the society or in our economy as well? Let me tell you guys something. There's nothing Nigerian government hates more than when external bodies start tapping into our economy. They hate it so much, and I don't know why. Is it because maybe external bodies actually give us funds or something? Maybe that's why they hate it. Now I want you guys to think back to every time that Nigerians actually spoke up. Is there a time that we spoke up and a change was not made? Like, is there a time? If we decide that we want to run a 30 days challenge where we're going to complain about the economy, we'll keep complaining about the economy. Do you guys not know that people will start looking into it like, oh, what's going on in Nigeria? Why are people complaining so much? And they will start making changes. Now, let me tell you guys something, Ba. You see, we as the Nigerian youth, we don't.
So now we are 30 days plus one later and asking, what did the challenge accomplish and what next? Peter, let's start with Raye's call for the challenge. Were you particularly surprised at how people ended up taking part in this particular challenge, or the fact that maybe the government or other people, maybe older people, were surprised by the level of frustration?
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I'm not surprised, though I wasn't surprised by the level of frustration. In fact, to her own credit, she said the president is terrible. And given what Nigerians have endured under, first of all, the 8 years of Buhari and now almost 2 years of President Tinubu, I think using the word terrible is even an accolade, because Nigerians are in despair and despondency. But in Nigeria, the problem is there is sufficient anger and frustration. The question is, what do we do with the frustration that we have? Because pain must be converted into passion to take reasonable action to getting results. Anger is not a plan. You know, that you are frustrated with the government is not a strategy. Nigerians have been frustrated like forever. I mean, Fela sang before I was born that in 1990 they go give us water from United Nations. In 2025, Nigeria still has more than 40 million people who do not have access to water. So everybody who came out to support this challenge came from a place of pain and frustration. The question now, as you have rightly asked, 30 days plus 1 later, where are we and how do we move forward from here?
You know, I'm just listening. I'm wondering, now that it's a day plus 1, a lot of Nigerians love online engagement.
Yes.
And I found out that they make superstars, they become social media warriors, keypad warriors. They know how to go under a comment section and, you know, bastardize the government, say whatever they want to say. But just as you said, it doesn't accomplish anything.
Yes.
Anger is not a strategy. Now that they have finished all these rants, how do you want to make this go from online to offline, for us to be able to see a physical representation of these young people backing up these 30 days with action? Because there's all these videos we're watching. It's great to watch. Some of these government that are even trying to engage, I'm sorry, some of them will just hear it from their handlers. They might not even watch any of these videos. Daddy won't be on Twitter. Won't pay any wicked God president.
The president said he doesn't watch social media.
So that means he might not even really engage with it. So how do we take this into something that is actionable?
The question before Nigerians today would be, are we interested in solving the problem and bettering our lives, or we want to keep talking about it? Nigerians' problems have not changed in the past 2 decades. Whatever you are discussing today, we have discussed before on this show. And if you bring another guest, it will be discussing it with another guest, probably on a different topic. The question is, are we ready to put focus where it is needed? The president within this 30-day challenge traveled out of Nigeria to a foreign country to meditate about his reforms for his country. So that should give you the perspective about Nigerian politicians. And we must be very honest and clear. Every system in Nigeria today is failing. The only aspects that are doing well is crime and corruption, criminality. And if we want to fix it, it must be from the root cause. Whether you want to talk about bad law enforcement, bad civil service, bad judiciary, the mother, the parent stock of it all is bad government. What exactly is supposed to be the focus after these 30 days? There must be 30 days of action and a lifetime of action to reform government. How do government get into power? It is through the electoral process.
So, Peter, wait, I can hear everything you're saying. And this is a young lady who called for 30 days of a 30-day rant challenge. And there's, I think, one gentleman on social media who actually really took it up. But the person who even called for it herself, I don't think she did 30 days. And so when you look at young Nigerians, and it's not even just young Nigerians, Nigerians in general, there's often a lack of staying power. And I'm not saying that there's no justification and there's no historic, psychological kind of backing as to why there's no staying power. But there tends to be a lack of consistency and a lack of follow through and a lack of staying power when it comes to these movements. And even the person who's asking for the challenge, I'm not sure she did all the 30 days herself. But when you look at all of that, what is that lack of consistency, lack of staying power? Doesn't that then work in the favor of politicians? By the time you ask for 1 protest, it doesn't last. 2 protests, it doesn't last. By the time you're getting to the 5th protest, who's going to answer you? It sounds like the boy who called Wolf.
Thank you very much. In fact, look, everything that is going on in Nigeria is a deliberate attempt to weaken you and to remove you from course. To her credit, she called for a 30-day challenge because she is frustrated. I mean, if somebody is frustrated and has come out to, bear out her mind, and she was even threatened, if not for the uproar from people, the NYSC, LGI, and all of that came after her and all that. The question now is to every other Nigerian who have seen somebody begin it, what have we taken from there? The prominent persons and every other person who is a part of this. But one thing I know about Nigerian politicians is this: they will throw a lot of confusion at you so that you become frustrated. If you wake up tomorrow, it is Senator Natasha versus Akpabio, then it is Copper, then it is Rivers State, then it is Kano, then it is Benue killings. So Nigerians have so much that it is almost impossible to stay course. It is here that we all will now need to be deliberate about exactly what we want to do and put a spotlight on it. The Copper is just a young girl. She can decide to, maybe she's not even have any experience on advocacy. She only came out, and due to certain reasons, her father is late and there was a background to it. Some persons may have prevailed on her that, look, it is not your blood that Nigeria will use to stand strong. Step back a little and put your legs on the brakes. It is possible. Nigeria can be that dire. So every other person who is also a victim of this injustice, what are we doing? It boils down to all of us. Our leaders in churches are telling us continue to hope and endure. Nigerians are the overall best in long suffering and endurance.
Peter, I have to pause you. As he mentioned Rivers State, we're going right now live to our correspondent in Rivers State, Biola Festus, as there is a developing situation coming to us from Port Harcourt. Let's get to it. Biola, good morning to you.
Good morning, Judith.
Rita.
Biola, can you hear me? This is Tolu.
Oh, good morning, Tolu. I can hear you very well.
All right, so give us an update on the situation. We can see the women behind you. What are they out for and what's going on right now in Port Harcourt?
Okay, so earlier these women had a procession in solidarity with the sole administrator of Rivers State. You would recall that there was a similar procession by women last week. But today, these women are saying we want the emergency rule to continue. Our state is peaceful. We are happy with the fact that we have a sole administrator in charge of affairs in the state. So I have some women here who were...
Lolo, we have some. We'll get back to it. You heard it. Just hold on. Biola, I know, is going to join us. You had a quick question because we have a break coming up.
I look at the Kenyan situation.
Yes.
I just want to ask, is it that you think Nigerians, we haven't really had a real harsh reality?
Yeah.
Because the harshest reality I can really point to when it comes to advocacy and fighting government that involves this generation is NSAS movement and the End Bad Governance protest.
Yes.
Is it that we need something of that magnitude for somebody to be willing to say, if I perish, I perish? Because this situation, all I keep hearing is, Omolomo, Kolewa, Shekiniko.
Can't be my child.
He can't be my child. My own mother, if she was alive and I'm doing advocacy, she would say, Why is it that? Is it that we have to physically allow ourselves to be assaulted and imprisoned or something happening? What do you think is going to wake us up and give action?
Can I make a point?
Please do.
The protests in Kenya were based off a few things, but one of them was the tax law.
Yes, tax reform.
Yes, you're aware that the president is still trying to go ahead.
Yes.
After everything that happened.
Yes.
So it gets again to the point of staying power and consistency.
Look, Nigeria, we have to be, if we want to change this country or reform anything, we need to be wise and strategic. Because the question will be, if we keep repeating the same mistake, we will be getting the same results. The answers, everything we have been doing in Nigeria in terms of protest will be addressing symptoms and not the root cause of a problem. Nigerian politicians are the luckiest set of human beings in the world because there are no consequences or accountability to whatever that they do. Nigerian leaders have not seen maximum civil pressure that puts them on their toes. For example, the NSAS you talked about, I kept saying it during the NSAS because anybody who knew how the protest will go knew it would have ended that way. We were shouting on the streets for how many days? NSAS, NSAS. Nobody was looking at the bigger picture. If you NSAS, you will protest against NSCDC, EFCC, Army, DSS, Custom, Immigration. The parent stock is a bad law enforcement system. After 3 days, Buhari came out and said, we have ended SARS. The question will be, why were you still on the street? Immediately, it would have moved to a bigger picture. If you talk about the end bad governance protest, let me ask you, how do you end bad governance? You end bad governance by electing good governance. How do you elect good governance? It has to be through INEC. INEC is the weapon that is fashioned against Nigerians. What is the deterrence for performing badly? If President Tinubu fails to attend to the 30 days run challenge, how will you address him? How do you hold him accountable? If in 2027 the government is able to rig themselves back into power, what happens to the people? So there must be a way of holding public leaders accountable. That is how you must get them to do what they need to do.
Okay, Peter, hold on, because there are several places there. We're all focusing on the presidency. Yeah. We've had that conversation. What happens to the governors? Yes. What happens to the local government officials? What happens to the state houses of assembly? Our government is a federation. There's exclusive and concurrence lists. They have responsibilities. Yes. But there's a direction that everybody is looking. And it's like a misdirection. You know, when you have a street magician, he's showing you what he's doing with one hand, but the other hand is busy behind his back. Yeah. But we need to take a break. When we come back, we'll get back into Port Harcourt, and then we're going on a break, and when we come back, we'll go to Port Harcourt. Stay with us.
All right, many thanks for staying with us. It's still the aftermath of a 30-day rant challenge, and we still have Biola on standby. We'll be joining her hopefully shortly to give us an update on what's happening in Port Harcourt. But we still have our guest here to talk about the state of the economy even after the 30-day rant challenge. Now, Nigeria has one of the youngest populations in the world, yet when it comes to politics, young people are often sidelined, underestimated, or completely excluded. But that's changing. From protests to policy conversations, digital campaigns to grassroots organizing, the youth are stepping up and demanding more than just a seat at the table and the want to voice that counts. Now, I have a counter theory, and I want to ask Peter about that. But in the meantime, we still have Biola Festus in Port Harcourt, and we've been able to establish connection with her. Now, she was going to give us an update on the procession by the women. So, Biola Festus, if you can hear me, what's the updates in Port Harcourt?
Yeah. So we are still at the ground where the procession ended. The procession took off from the garrison roundabout, and now we are at the thoroughfare where they terminated. Now, a group of women came out to process in solidarity with the emergency road in the state. Now, some of them had earlier told us on camera that they want the sole administrator to continue in the state even until 2027. Now their reason is that they've had peace since his assumption of office, and that everything has been going on smoothly. Now their protest is also a counter of what some women did last week. You would recall that some women also protested last week, calling for the end of emergency rule in Rivers State. Well, I still have some women here who I would like for them to talk to us. Let's hear directly from them why they came out today to protest. I have Rita here, who is a senatorial women leader in Rivers State. Can you tell us why you came out beautifully today with your makeup fully glammed? Can you tell us, please?
Thank you very much. My name is Rita, a good Rivers woman. We are Rivers students. We are about to prepare the world and Rivers State as a peace. We have peace in Rivers State, and we are also here to congratulate. There is peace, and Rivers women have been praying for peace. And as you can see, we are all well dressed today in white. White simply means peace. We are here to tell the world that we are happy and we can sleep with our 2 eyes closed. And we also want to tell our president, our listening president, for bringing peace to Rivers State, for bringing state of emergency, because we were not happy at the same time. We were not sleeping. We were sleeping with 2 eyes open. But now we are sleeping with our 2 eyes closed. We are happy because we have been praying for this peace to come, and the peace is here. Yes. Rivers women are happy. We are happy.
Okay, so now you said there is peace in Rivers State.
Yes.
Does that mean the sole administrator should go back and discontinue his administratorship in Rivers State?
Yes, we need more of him. Yes, we need more. We should continue the good work. He's doing very well. Rivers women are happy with him. We need more. Extra 6 months, if possible. It's 2027. She continue the good work. Because with him, we can sleep. With him, we can go about our various business. Our children can go to school freely. There's no threat of the unknown. Rivers women are happy. We are happy. We have been dancing since morning, dancing, rejoicing for peace in Rivers State.
All right. Thank you, Rita. Some of your comrades here said supported. Can you tell us why you are supporting her?
Yes, why I'm supporting her is because Rivers State is peaceful now. We have peace. You will not understand what we mean by keeping our two eyes sleeping close. We have peace now. That was why we are supporting her for this good works that is happening in Rivers State today.
Okay, you said you have peace now. Were there troubles in the state prior to now?
We cannot say it. That is the trouble alone, my dear. You will not understand. The trouble is much, of which I cannot go to my business and come back late, as in 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, because of threats of unknown. But now I will go and come back 10, 11, 12 freely in the night and enter my house without stress.
All right, thank you. You said you can't explain. Maybe the next woman here would be able to explain the sort of insecurity and troubles that prevailed in Rivers State prior to the declaration of this emergency. She's standing right here by me. So can you tell us?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, just before the solar administrator, before the sole administrator assumed office, we could remember that the whole state was tensed up. Everybody was tensed up. People couldn't go to markets. People couldn't go to their various places of work without looking behind them. Anything can happen. But once the sole administrator came into office, you could see it was like ice water. Everyone in the state relaxed. In fact, we could sleep. We were not bothered again. Our children would go to school. Before we used to be like, oh, how would they go? Be thinking we're on our feet. But now we are relaxed. We are happy. People are going about their businesses well. That's why you see, my colleagues and I were saying, let him for as long as peace will be in Rivers State. Let him stay until he achieves what has been sent to him by the president of our country. So yes, we are happy. Rivers women are here today to say we are fully in support of what our president did for us, for bringing a sole administrator to oversee our affairs and to bring peace to the region.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So there you have it, Tolu. These women say they want the sole administrator to remain in office till 2022. Well, my question to them was that since you now have the peace you have been clamoring for, and since the peace that the president said was not in Rivers State is back, do you still want the sole administrator here, or you want him to be recalled by the presidency? Well, you heard what he said. They still want him around. It's been all dancing and singing, gyration from both elderly women, young women. Some people even came out.
Thank you so much, Biola. Thank you. All right, thank you so much, Biola Francis, New Central's correspondent, reporting there from Port Harcourt in Rivers State. A march there in favor or for the sole administrator of the state who took over recently after the president declared a state of emergency in Rivers State, suspended the governor, his deputy, and the State House of Representatives, which, interestingly enough, weren't they out of the country recently? Peter, you're watching this, and it's a conversation. People have their right to who they support, to agree with whatever they want to agree with. But what are your thoughts on what we just watched now?
First of all, my thought is, I don't know if this is Rivers women. This looks like a group of APC women because they are wearing caps with APC placards. This is a partisan group of persons who came out. And this is what you see, the effect of hunger and frustration in the land. What APC cannot do does not exist. When you see people come out to do things based on, gratification or aggrandizement, if you ask some of the persons who are here, who are there, what exactly is a sole administrator? How do you get to the point where you need a sole administrator? So you just keep saying, where there is peace, now where there is peace. If there was no peace, the governor as a governor does not command any security outfit. The security of the nation is the prerogative of the president. So it is the president that should even be held responsible if there is no peace in the state. He does not, the governor does not control police or whatever. But what is the root cause of this in Rivers State? A former governor felt that he was powerful enough. He installed a sitting governor, and they should be able to decide how the state treasury is being managed.
You said he installed. What happened to voting?
Good. So that is what brings me back to what I have been saying. That system that empowers one person to be able to boast that I was able to make a governor must be fixed. Once you refuse to fix it without the backing of the federal government, the former governor cannot do what he's doing in Rivers State.
How are we supposed to fix it when the president came into power after saying Emiloko?
Yes, that is why
it's the same thing across board.
Of course, the president does not. The President Tinubu did not come because he felt that I was one Prime Minister, Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore. He believes that the presidency is the final cap to his political dynasty and journey. He has helped a lot of people to get there. He also deserves to be there. Nigerians now have to insert themselves into the equation. If you allow another 4 years to end in 2027, you do nothing about INEC, and another Emilokon comes for another 4 years, it will mean APC have done 16 years, PDP 16 years. Imagine spending 32 years total under mediocre leadership. You must fix that system and then allowing them to install a successor.
You know, Peter, I'm listening and I'm saying
Kat has a question she's been holding on to.
I understand where you're coming from, Lord, because even during the breaks we've had conversations.
Yes.
I hear you, Peter. I really hear you. It sounds so utopic.
Yeah.
But my question will be transitioning.
Yes.
How do young people, how do Nigerians, young Nigerians, because we've had Not Too Young to Run,
Yes.
we have Gen Zs who are reshaping the entire system of how life is seen nowadays. But my question is, how do the Nigerian youth move from protests and political activism to real political influence and representation and making a difference using those platforms? I think we're stuck there.
Let me add to what Catherine is saying, because it's still in the same line. Because we have had some young people who in government and they didn't represent us well.
Yes.
The Deji, what was that guy from Ogun
The
State?
House of Representatives Speaker, Bankole.
Dimeji Bankole.
Yes.
We've had young people in some positions. The Ajulale, what's the guy's name?
The spokesperson for
We've
the
had them
president.
inserted, but their insertion is as if they amplify the rot of the old.
Yes.
So with this new Gen Z, do you think there's any, even if they do give them opportunities, are we going to see a difference in this social media generation?
We can see a very, very clear difference. The way Nigeria is configured today, it is wired not to do well. Nigeria needs a hard reset.
Yeah.
The system itself does not support integrity. In fact, if you try to do good under this kind of system, you will become the scapegoat. The system itself will go against you. You can see what is happening in the National Assembly. Absolute state capture. There is no opposition. The parliament see themselves as an extension of the executive. If you try to speak up, they come against you. Nigerian youth, what we need to do as all of us, because you talked about how do we get into the space.
Yes.
If you do not reform the system, the vehicle to which you get into the space, the question, the challenge is, politicians want that system of you getting into power to remain very criminal and violent, so that persons of character and integrity cannot. Why did President Yemi Osinbajo not scale through the APC primaries? What of the people like Babatunde Raji Fashola? The system has a way of filtering out persons who seemingly may have the character to do so. Only the very corrupt and violent can scale through. So if you do not unbundle that structure of criminality, good persons like you will always remain afraid. That is why they say politics is dirty game. So, don't go there.
So I'm sorry, aside tackling, because I think that we've hammered a lot on what we should do differently for the people in power. But I think that for me, the elephant in the room is the issue of disunity and disjointedness. Because let me come back to the whole 30-day challenge. Raye's first post, somebody under that comment said, why is a core member buying crate of egg?
Yes.
Her second post, somebody under that comment said, why are you going clubbing? So at the end of the day, in fact, the subsequent post after that, they were like, so you have money. And that's why I was referring to the whole, she splurged, I think, 1.2 million or something to buy some things. That people were like, so you have money and you are still shouting, you're still ranting, as though that changes the state of the economy. So my question is, there's so many instances where you have seen, this is literally the example of a nation divided against itself. Because we're talking about, elections and all. There's still people, I think it was Laura that made that statement, or Tolu, that whatever the votes count was, it was on a basis, we said they rigged it. It was on a foundation. There are people who still voted the opposite of
whatever it is,
their choice. So at the end of the day, it's like we ourselves are not even united, and those in the lawmakers thrive on that disunity. I know so many companies in Nigeria that the bosses literally thrive on the disunity of the staff, and that's what makes the bosses flourish. So how do we?
So before you answer that, we have a commercial break. We have bills to pay. When we come back, we'll look at divide and rule. That's what it's called. Stay with us.
What an interesting conversation we've been having here on Jasiri this morning. After 30 days of powerful rants, raw throats, and of course frustrations, the question now is, what is next? But before we went on that break, we were still talking about divide and rule. It's a strategy of war. So, and Blessings had made some very important, points on the fact that that seemed to be who we are as a people. And the leadership know. So they keep dividing us so that our focus is not together. So as long as this is a strategy and it has been working, so what can we do now for that strategy not to work any longer?
It is true, and it is reality that as Nigerians we are divided across different lines, religious, ethnic, political. But the denominating factor for all Nigerians and the uniting factor is suffering and pain. The poverty, illiteracy, religion have become weaponized against the Nigerian state and the Nigerian people. It is a deliberate attempt. Keep them subjugated. That is the only way you can, pretend over them. When you see people come out to say, oh, Raye, why will you be able to afford a crate of egg? You see people protesting and say, we support sole administrator. Those are protests of stomach infrastructure. Tomorrow, if you talk about the economy is bad, APC, some supporters will come and tell you on their mandate they fall and all of that. But the question is, even persons who are in APC have been taken by kidnappers. They did not ask for their voters card. Nigerians that have moved into extreme and multi-dimensional poverty, a lot of them, remember the KBCs that were killed in Ekiti? The woman who was crying was telling them that he's a good oba, that during the last election he was at the polling unit telling them, Edibo fun APC. Immediately the APC government came, he was one of the first victims of Fulani militias attack.
But Peter, is this an APC thing? Is it not a rose by any other name is still a rose? If politicians by any other name, any other party will do what they do.
Where I'm driving at is to let you know that you might say you are a beneficiary of something today, and then on the next side, on the flip side, you become a victim. So we as Nigerians need to call a spade and see that we are all victims of a dysfunctional system. Some persons were crying under PDP, 16 years of PDP. Something that they are celebrating because it's APC. No matter how long President Tinubu stays in power, he will have to leave. Somebody will still come. So what we should know is that the division is not as much as the politicians want to make it to be. Nigerians know what is good governance. A lot of them, given the opportunity, will choose good governance against what is going on here. We only have to put focus on what we should do. Because I have asked the question that has not been answered. If after all of this, our conversation, President Tinubu fails to reform whatever it is, the economy still goes up, inflation still goes up, by 2027, what do we do?
So I want to ask a question because I look at a lot of things. If you look at Nigeria's entertainment industry, tech and all that, it is happening and booming in spite and despite government. In spite of means government has not helped. Despite government means government is now starting to put some things in place that look like at the end of the day it's to take but not to support. And you see young Nigerians, the goal of many young Nigerians, if they don't jack by, is to find a remote job. They want to insulate themselves almost from the reality. Let me get paid in dollars, or let me get paid more than this. So I insulate myself from all these other things. I'll just go out every once in a while, go to the market. People will deliver to me. Life is, especially in Lagos, people take. So it feels like they're trying to work around the system. And one thing we have to remind you is, even if you're not involved in politics, politics will happen to you. It's the road, it's the schools, it's the hospitals, it's your security, it's the market. Politics will happen to you. So in the long run, when you see young people, they've seen their parents protest. They've seen their aunties and uncles protest. Limited changes. Changes have happened, but limited. What do you tell them? How do you convince them that they cannot stay aloof? You cannot do a 30-day rant challenge on social media and think that's all. The people how do you convince them that they have to put, there has to be flesh, it's skin in the game?
Nothing mobilizes social uproar than bad governance and insensitive leadership. Every Nigerian would need to understand that whether you decide to speak up or keep quiet, we are all victims. What we are waiting is turn by turn Nigeria PLC. And no matter how much you try to cover yourself, you are not insulated as a Nigerian. You may be wealthy. Your own case might be oxygen that is not available in an ambulance that will take you from your house to a very good medical center. So every person in Nigeria, unwittingly or knowingly, is a victim. What Nigerians need to know is that after the 30-day challenge, we have spoken, we have ranted. There has to be sustained action, because what is the other option? Keep quiet and decide that what should happen. We are only waiting for another opportunity for something to come up and then we begin again.
Quick one, because I always ask this question when we talk about advocacy.
Yeah.
Do you believe in the Messiah, the Messiah?
That there's one person who can come and save Nigeria.
One person needs to be at the forefront of this fight.
Yes, I believe that a person with a strong vision and with the capacity to pull people together can emerge. It can happen. It can also be a group of persons. But the important thing that I will always repeat is that anger in itself is not a solution.
Peter,
we must be strategic and we must go to the National Assembly and demand electoral reform from the National Assembly.
All right, so, okay. So one thing is clear as we wrap up today's show. Peter is coming back. So
And Catherine's cold is better.
So as we wrap up the show, as Catherine said, one thing is very clear. Young Nigerians are not silent and they're not powerless. The challenge may have ended, but now there's a bigger question of what next. Will there be something bigger? Ranting was the release. Now comes the responsibility. From joining community initiatives to running for office, from holding leaders accountable to becoming the leaders ourselves, are young Nigerians ready to show up? Thank you for starting the week with us, and we hope that we've raised some questions, probably raised your blood pressure a little bit as well. But until tomorrow, stay bold, stay focused, and most importantly, stay involved. We'll see you guys. Bye.